what I think it's very important is that you also have different playbooks.
Yes.
Because now, I think Formula One has been one of the best examples of a property changing their strategy and kind of activating that virtuous cycle and that flywheel you were talking about. Because if you think about the strategy at the Ecclestone era, it was everything about, everything exclusive for broadcaster. We shouldn't allow anyone to share the content. Drivers are not allowed to post any content. Suddenly, Liberty Media comes in, change completely the strategy, start open up, sharing clips on social media, the Netflix partnership, a lot of things, changing, and that business has grown massively, and the media business of Formula One has grown massively in the last years. But then you have other properties that say, okay, I saw what Formula One has done, I'm going to do the same. And it doesn't really work because, Drive to Survive, excellent format, but you cannot try to replicate that with other sports. And if you think about, same people, same, I think, and I'm thinking about other titles from the same production company trying to replicate that Drive to Survive model with tennis or with golf, with Full Swing or with Six Nations. Yes, there was successful partnership and successful content format, but they didn't have the impact that Drive to Survive had, because I think that was a very unique moment and it explodes. So the playbook also needs to change. There's not one, going back to what we said before, it's not one size fits all.
Yes.
Not the Formula One playbook is not going to work for everyone.
Totally. And again,
you need to adapt.
And again, what you said there, timing was fantastic. Yes, execution was great as well, but there was a huge amount of momentum that went from one to another. And again, they did fantastically well in creating a product that was created to interest people that had no idea about Formula One, right? And they were able to create this kind of adversarial kind of and create profiles and kind of rivalries and arch nemesis and whatever out of the team principles and what. So again, fantastic execution there. Bit of luck, sure, but again, you gotta roll the momentum. And now what they've just signed in terms of the Apple deal in the US is credit to that. Really rolling in a time now in terms of big Hollywood premiere, big Formula One, Brad Pitt, and again, let's push this as far as we can go, because people cannot get enough of Formula One in the US right now. And fantastic, all hats off to them. But you're right, it's not going to work for everyone.
It's not going to work for everyone, and I think when you look at people in the industry in general, it's like, someone did that, it worked, we're going to do the same. Doesn't really work like that. Like you really need to need to find your spot, and things that may work for you doesn't work for anyone. Also because it's not only, and I think sports, especially top tier sport properties, have sometimes a kind of a very arrogant approach.
Okay, yeah.
Because they consider themselves top tier, but top tier property in Spain it's not a top tier property in Italy or in the US.
Yeah.
When NFL comes to Spain, yes, NFL is a top tier in the US, but here you really need to take a very humble approach to try to conquer the market.
Yeah, totally. No, I completely agree. And all right, thinking about that, and there's something that you mentioned previously in terms of Formula One, and then there being a shift in terms of drivers all of a sudden started getting involved in that distribution of content. And there was again, when there was previously just one distributor of content, that like network of distribution has changed and the entire ecosystem has become more rich. That's something that you and I have spoken about loads and loads and loads, which is again, the being an athlete led, which I think is a fascinating angle, and one that obviously the NBA and the American sports have lent into for so long and have had such great success with that in terms of taking advantage of the fact that there is some global superstars here that can continue to be patrons for their sport and carry them on. And there are people that even transcend sport, but that can carry the message, and ultimately it all helps with the flywheel, which is something that if you are, again, very traditional and very closed, and maybe are used to things being a bit more closed, and you're used to giving all of the rights to certain partners, that may scare you. And it's very difficult to course correct, which is where, again, that kind of model, I think we're going to start seeing more and more. I know you've got an interesting case study of that and an example of something that you're working on there, but I think that is something that is difficult for the top tier to start introducing now. Amazing opportunity for lower tier. Right? Because again, they don't have the legacy or the kind of straitjacket that success can kind of sometimes give you, right? In terms of having too successful of a legacy or a past can make you resistant to want to change. And again, you mentioned something there, was we're in a moment where people need to take more risks. I agree, but it needs to be calculated. I agree in taking risks, but it needs to be calculated. And it's difficult to throw the towel in on a business that have been providing you hundreds of millions, want to go completely and fully back. I think, yes, go risky and be open to new angles. If you can see that if it's worth it, right? So if your existing structure is no longer going to support you, or if you know that you need to do something, otherwise it might have to be drip fed in.
I think you go back to the example that we were doing before and the parallelism with the music industry. Yeah. The music industry was completely disrupted from one day to the other.
Yes.
And you say before, here the traditional model will still coexist with the new ways of looking at the content. I think the lower properties will drive and will drive that innovation in the model, and top properties will follow as they see new models coming up. Especially because when the deals come to an end and they need to renew and they need to think about the new right cycle, they will, with the examples that we've seen in the lower properties, they will take that to their partners and try to build similar models where you say, with the example you made with LALIGA in the UK, it's exactly. And also the UK is a very interesting market from a football perspective, and we've seen also Bundesliga doing really interesting things there.
Yeah.
Because how you conquer a market that is, we agree, great football market, UK, but it has such a strong football tradition that it's very hard to crack.
Yeah. No, listen, it absolutely is. And there's been so much focus on investment on a couple of key properties, right? In terms of, you need to, again, be open to considering different models, because, again, you cannot take the playbook of Premier League and adopt it and go to the UK with a tier 2, 3 or 4 property and expect it to work.
Yeah.
You need to come at it humbly. Again, it's what we said before. Tier 3 and 4 is where real innovation happens, right?
And where we're going to see the most growth.
Totally. And again, which is why we see things coming up like, I say tier 4, or those which are completely startups, right? So we've seen unbelievable growth in the likes of, again, entertainment properties like Kings League, Ballers League, whatever. They're opening in a space where they can do what they want because they're starting from fresh. They don't have that legacy. So you can kind of create their own playbook. Which is absolutely the right way to start looking at these things.
One of the best case studies for me that I'm more fascinated about is Power Slap.
Yes.
I mean, building a league out of just
it's another Dana
slaps.
White one,
I think it's amazing. But when you look at the numbers, it's mind-blowing. Like, they generate millions and millions and millions of views.
Okay, right, true, absolutely. But who's going to subscribe for it? Therefore, the playbook for that is different. You know that it's going to get a huge amount of views on social.
But it's owned by TKO. But you see there, TKO with UFC, WWA, and Power Slap playing different playbooks in each property. And
that is the key.
And that's the key. It's the flexibility to say, okay, I have a property that goes to one audience and speak to one cohort of people, and a property where I can build a business model that is completely different to what you will do with UFC. If you take Power Slap and apply the same playbook that TKO made in UFC, probably it won't work.
100%. And again, I'd take that to 11 in terms of, so applying that to what we're trying to do at Peak is our approach is, yes, let's think of different ways to do it. But to be able to do that, you need to then speak to the potential distribution partners, right? In terms of really get a great understanding of what are they trying to achieve? What's going to be their difficulties in the next 5-10 years? What kind of businesses are they going to build and what is going to be valuable to them, right? So again, one size fits all does not work. You need to go and you need to, again, collaborate more. That it's no longer a negotiation where it's just like, here's my content, I want 5% more, please. You need to go and say, right, what are you working on? Is there data that I can provide you that can help? So again, our approach to this is very much, we're using the intelligence that we have there from Fan Insights in terms of understanding their fan behavior. Can we provide them with things that allow them and that assist them in their acquisition decision, right? And so that for us is the basis of everything that we do, right? Putting yourselves in their shoes, and then again, upon getting that knowledge, reporting back to what is the right owner and telling them the strategy there. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think it's ultimately is taking the values of sports, of team value, team play, and play as a team with your future partners, with your agencies that are working with you.
Totally.
With otherwise,
and I'd say one more thing actually. So, and everything that we've spoken about up until now has been around the sales process, so the pre-sale stuff, so that negotiation and the relationship that you have with someone before you even talk about the acquisition or get into a relationship with someone. So like collaboration there. Beyond the signing of the contract, you need to collaborate even more. That's
right? Where work starts.
Exactly.
That's where work really starts.
100%. So it's one of those that, again, I think previously, and again, what we spoke about, some of those in terms of washing their hands after doing a deal and then saying, right, let's chat again in 3 years. Does not work anymore. You need to be having a regular health check of what is your fandom, your following, your sport in C, so that you can understand, okay, how is there anything more I can be doing to allow my partner to achieve his goals, right? Because ultimately, you want a positive relationship and you want in 3 years' time it to be a no-brainer for both sides, right? You don't want to be in a situation where we spoke about earlier that after a 3 or 4 or 5 year cycle, your partner is thinking, oof, that was hard work. Mate, that was hard work getting value out of that. Let's leave it. Because then you've all of a sudden got one less person in the competitive landscape that you were hoping to create at every time you produce a sale. So collaboration before, yes, but post, even more so. Weekly, monthly, it needs to be constant. You need to understand what your audience is, your engagement is, and why, and can you be doing more?
Yeah, more than ever, it's about building a team with your partners and create that partnership ecosystem.
100%.